and reading
On the 21st,
on the 21st,
hopefully.
and still get it done in time to get it
for the
for
handbook,
the handbook.
right?
Yes.
I do have one minor question. I don't
Yep.
think, just on the first page under number 4, where we clarify use of a drug authorized by medical prescription for the user
Yeah.
from a registered physician. I would also like to add nurse practitioner.
That's
Because
right.
primary care providers may be
That's a
nurse
good point.
practitioners and are licensed. I don't know if the law actually says that, but it would be good to clarify it.
Nurse practitioners can.
It's
will
a
get-
subtle,
yeah.
non-substantive point.
Can they prescribe?
Yes, they can.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we'll table that for our first reading on, with corrections on May 14th.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you, policy subcommittee.
Yeah,
Nice job.
good job.
Made no rush.
All right, we're required each year to have a school choice public hearing. And under the Education Reform Act of 1993, this hearing is required. Becoming a choice district means that North Reading will accept students from other cities and towns for enrollment in its schools. Once a student is accepted as a choice student, he or she is a student until graduation, or the student opts to withdraw from the school district. And the district receives an additional $5,000 from the district where the child is leaving or where the child resides. $5,000 is paid to the North Reading School District. So, again, this, Kathy, do you want to comment any further on this? This is something we have to do every year. We're required to do it. I think we're required to submit it
Yeah.
by June 1st, I believe.
That's
to
correct.
the
This is an
Department of
annual
Education.
event
Right.
for every school committee in the Commonwealth to either accept or reject entering into school choice. So you're
Okay.
required to have a public hearing and hear from anyone
All
in the
right,
audience.
I'm going to open the public hearing portion of this meeting. Anybody want to be heard? Nobody? I'm going to close the public hearing portion, and now it's up for discussion by the committee members.
I have a question for Kathy.
Yes.
I know North Reading has never elected to take part in school choice, but can our students still go to other districts
Yes.
that allow have
Yes.
school choice? They
Yes.
They can.
Yes, there's no restrictions. We've had students do it.
can? Okay.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen very often, but we
Yeah.
have had students do it. Any further discussion? It's always an interesting topic each year, and I think the resident expert on this was Steve Jervy, who's gone now, but, and the motion's an interesting motion too, by the way. I think it's printed there
Well, I
for
think
us.
one of the issues is that I don't know, can you limit how many students can come in and?
You can identify the grades where you would allow school choice, and you can identify when you would cap it. What you cannot control is who you approve or disapprove. If there's an opening, anyone applies for that opening from any sending district.
But also, one of the issues is we receive 5,000 from
Yeah.
the sending district, but it costs us over 11,000 to educate a child.
It doesn't
in
seem
North
like a
Reading.
good economic
No,
deal.
And it does decrease over time. It's 5,000
Right,
initially.
the first year,
Yeah.
right. So,
Okay. I'm going to ask for a motion then on the school choice issue. And again, I think that we've been using the same motion for a number of years, and it qualifies and fits the requirements of the Department of Education. So do we have a motion?
yeah, I'll make a
No.
motion that North Reading School District not participate in school choice because the program as it is presently constructed ensures that the needs of some of the children of the Commonwealth cannot be met.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mel, second by Karen. Any further discussion regarding this matter? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries by a vote of 5-0. Okay, we have some appointments that need to be made. And again, I think this is something fairly new, that there's new legislation regarding education collaboratives in the state of Massachusetts, and I'm going to ask Kathy to talk to us about what's required now. And I think we have to elect a representative to each one of these collaboratives.
That's
And we'll ask for volunteers later if, unless the superintendent wants to do it.
That's correct. Under Chapter 43 of the Acts of 2012, on Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 4E, there's a new legislation called An Act Relative to Improving Accountability and Oversight of Education Collaboratives. This is very new, and it provides sweeping changes in the operation and accountability of education collaboratives. There is a letter in your packet from the Commissioner, along with the PowerPoint presentation that has been made by the Department of Ed. This new law strengthens state oversight of collaboratives, financial accountability, and governance for education collaboratives. It also establishes a special commission at the department to examine and make recommendations on the future role for education collaboratives in the Commonwealth. There are several new provisions, that have been outlined in the letter from the Commissioner. But what every school committee must do prior to July 1 is identify who the representative will be that sits on the board of directors for the collaborative to which the district belongs. The North Reading Public School District belongs to two collaboratives, the SEAM Collaborative that's located in Stoneham, Mass., and the North Shore Education Collaborative, or Consortium they call themselves, and they are in Beverly. So I currently sit on both boards, and what needs to happen that's never happened before is that the committee needs to appoint the representative to sit on the board on behalf of the school committee. There will be a minimum of 6 meetings that occur each year. Right now, I attend 6 at both collaboratives. They saw the writing on the wall and have already expanded. We typically meet at either 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning, and each one of those meetings lasts a minimum of 2 hours. All of the school districts that participate in the collaborative sit on the board. Or I should say that there are member districts for each of those boards, and each member district has a representative sit on that board. So the school committee may, under this legislation, appoint its superintendent as the board member.
Okay, anybody that wants to volunteer to be the board member, take one step forward. Anybody? I saw the Three Stooges movie the other
Yes.
night, so take one step forward. If you step. I'm assuming that people are very satisfied with the superintendent representing our school district on those boards.
Sounds
Yes.
to me like a plan.
And I'm sure that's your recommendation?
It is
to
my
continue?
recommendation. What's different is 4 times a year I need to come back to you and provide a detailed report to you on what's taken place, and I have not done that up to this point. So next year I will be doing that.
Okay, we need a motion to appoint the superintendent as our representative to the board of directors for both the SEAM Collaborative and the North Shore Education Consortium. I think we can do that with one motion.
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Motion by Cliff and a second by Karen. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries by a vote of 5-0.
Congratulations, Superintendent Willis.
Thank you so much.
I didn't see a lot of,
To
I
represent
didn't see a lot of
you.
volunteers, the hands going up.
Where are the balloons and confetti?
I think the next item on the agenda, the Department of Education DART tool, that you want to put that off for another meeting?
Yes, I'd like to bring that back to the May 14th meeting,
Okay,
please.
good enough. Next subject, athletic user fees. The athletic subcommittee has been discussing for several months athletic user fees, and I'm actually going to turn this over to Mel. He's been chairing the athletic subcommittee, and I think he can give us the background on this particular item on the agenda.
I think most of the committee is aware that over the last 2 years, we've had a fairly significant shortfall in our athletic revolving account related to giving 100% waivers to students on free and reduced lunch, who qualify for free and reduced lunch. I believe last year the shortfall was, Carl, somewhere around $24,000, and this year it's going to be, I think it's over $20,000. So it's gone down a bit, but still fairly significant.
If I may.
Yes.
The shortfall related specifically to the waivers is just short of 17,000 this year.
Okay, so the issue that raises is, I know Chairman Venezia and I, being on the board the longest, we talked many years ago, 5-6 years ago, about the fact that it was always our goal to have the athletic department budget supported half by user fees and other fees that come in, other revenues that come in, gate receipts, et cetera, and half from the tax, half from taxes, half from the town, from our budget that's raised and appropriated. And the last 2 years, we haven't been able to do that. We've had to raise more money, allocate more money from the budget toward from the raise and appropriate from taxes toward the athletic department budget. I think this year, the numbers are, they're fairly large. This year, the past year, I think this year was wasn't it something like 36
There
or
were 32
32?
people that qualified for a waiver on the initial user fee, which is $400.
Right.
32. And I can remember back 8-9 years ago,
Couple, right.
there was one or two. And those one or two would go to the athletic boosters, who would then pay the user fee for them. But the athletic boosters has informed us that they do not have the funds anymore to even approach paying that number of user fees. That was 32 for the first sport.
Right.
There were 20 for the second sport, which is $200. And I believe there were 39 for the third sport, which is $100. I think mixed in there were
Some
a
of that has
couple
to do with the family.
the family cap plan, but a lot of it was the waiver.
Right. So, we took a look at this, and I want to point out, this is not mandated by law that we do this. And we did a survey of other surrounding school districts. Some did what we did. Some had some sort of discount or a reduction in fees, and some did nothing for students who were on free and reduced lunch. You still had to pay the entire fee. So we discussed this at length at the athletic subcommittee meeting, and what we recommended is that we are no longer going to, at least the athletic subcommittee recommends, we no longer waive all fees for those on free and reduced lunch. However, our recommendation is that the first fee would be cut by 50% to $200. The
For
second
free lunch only.
for those on free lunch only, not reduced lunch. If you're on free lunch, the first fee is reduced from $400 to $200. The second fee stays at $200, and the third fee is $100 if you play 3 sports, and that's for one academic year. We also discussed talking and working with the boosters to maybe help them, figure out how to maybe start a fund and raise some additional money that's specifically targeted at tuitions and helping kids pay for these funds, pay for these fees. It wasn't an easy thing to do, but at this point, if we're losing an average of $20,000 a year in fees, it starts to have an impact on the program. And we also have the athletic director for the last year and a half has been asking us to add assistant coaches for some of the sports that don't have assistant coaches on the varsity teams, like baseball, like softball, like boys lacrosse, and I think a few others.
What could the negative effect be if 32 kids don't have the $200
Well,
for that first sport?
Well, we
discussed that.
believe me, it was a lot of tribulation over this. I know the superintendent had concerns, the athletic director had concerns. We certainly don't want to discourage anybody from playing, and we certainly don't want to reduce participation. But we also felt that that number had climbed to 32 for that first sport. That was kind of alarming to me. I had never seen it that high. And the principal, John Bernard, made a good point. He said, look, if we do this right now, kids have from now until next September to plan, or families have to plan to try to raise that money between now and next September for that first sport. And we're still giving the $200 reduction.
Was he going to be given a notification of some sort?
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely, it's
as
going
soon-
out.
If it was approved by the school committee tonight,
John-
John would inform people.
He was gonna let everybody know by
Immediately.
email immediately. That's why he wanted, we wanted to put on the agenda tonight so that people could know, tomorrow, and then obviously in the transcript on Thursday, that this was gonna be the policy going forward. And it's not even an official policy of ours, it's a procedure that we've
It's a
used.
past practice that we
Past practice
follow.
that we followed.
And I want to make it clear that the free and reduced lunch is mandated by the federal government. It is the federal government, right, Carl?
Federal
Federal.
Federal government?
Yes.
And families who want to qualify for that have to submit a lot of information, financial information, in order to qualify for that.
But it qualifies them for free and reduced
Right.
lunch. It does not,
Doesn't
that does not
qualify 'em for
qualify
any-
them for any
right.
other benefit, such as a reduced or a waived user fee. We just use that as the standard. We use that as the guideline as to whether or not we would waive the fee in the past.
So that the vote was unanimous to the athletic subcommittee. I can tell you that there was a lengthy discussion. There is concern about it, but at the same time, if this continues, we don't know. The concern was, as Michael just raised, what if and